Lieutenant Cornwall of the Zentari Reinforcement Fleet had always believed order was the universe's final language. In his 21 service cycles, order had never failed him. It had guided his hand while overseeing the disarmament of the Kesh war clans. It had steadied his voice when entire planetary councils collapsed under interstellar arbitration. Order was why the galaxy functioned at all, which was why the human child standing in Corridor C-17 of Gamma Station unsettled him so profoundly. She was small, alarmingly so. By Terran developmental charts, perhaps 7 or 8 solar years old. Her dark hair fell untidily around her shoulders, and she wore a pale blue dress frayed at the cuffs. In her arms, she clutched a stuffed animal, a crude, soft representation of some extinct Terran predator, identified by Corrin's translator as a bear. She should have been crying. Instead, she stood quietly, watching him with eyes far too calm. Unaccompanied minor detected, Corrin stated, his voice carrying the neutral cadence of authority. You will accompany me. The Zentari were taller than most council species, their slate-gray skin patterned with faint crystalline veins that glimmered under station lights. Corrin extended his four-fingered hand, confident, precise. The child tilted her head. You shouldn't do that, she said softly. The translator rendered the words instantly. The meaning, however, did not compute. Protocol required no consent. Corrin gently, but firmly, closed his hand around her arm. It felt warm, fragile. Too fragile for a species that had risen so rapidly through the galactic ranks. Your guardian has violated docking regulations, he continued. You will remain in protective custody until identification is verified. She did not resist. As they walked, Corrin failed to notice the sudden shift around them. Conversations died mid-sentence. Several human adults froze, color draining from their faces as urgent murmurs crackled into private communicators. Corrin noticed none of it. Order demanded focus. The detention chamber was standard, reinforced walls, containment field, minimal furnishings. He guided the child inside and activated the barrier. You will wait here, he said. Your guardian will be located and processed. The child sat neatly on the sleeping platform, placing her stuffed bear beside her. My mom won't like this, she said. All guardians object to consequences, Corrin replied, already drafting his report. You will remain. No, she interrupted. Corrin paused. Something in her voice, measured, certain, cut through his instincts. You really should let me go, she added. Amusement flickered through him, brief and alien. That is not how this works. He turned away. 3 minutes later, his communicator screamed. Not chimed. Screamed. Station command. Zentari High Fleet. Galactic Council emergency channels. Release the child immediately. Diplomatic emergency. Apex code. Protected entity confirmed. Corrin's crystalline eyes widened as he opened the attachment. Subject: Maya Hull. Status: minor. Guardian: Admiral Sarah Hull. Position: Supreme Commander, Terran Defense Union. Signatory: Proxima Accords or Iron Armistice. A red warning pulsed across the file. Any detention constitutes an act of war. Order shattered. Corrin ran. Station alarms blared. Personnel evacuated the detention wing as human security teams poured through corridors with terrifying efficiency. He reached the cell and deactivated the field with trembling claws. The child stood exactly where he had left her. I did warn you, she said gently. The corridor filled with boots. Human marines. Diplomatic guards. And then, silence. A woman stepped forward. She wore no armor. No visible weapon. Just a dark uniform bearing insignia that made entire fleets hesitate. Admiral Sarah Hull. She knelt before the child instantly, inspecting her with swift, practiced movements. Are you hurt? No, Mum, Maya replied. He wasn't mean. The Admiral stood. Her gaze settled on Corrin. In that moment, he understood humanity's ascent. Not their ships, not their weapons, but the terrifying clarity in her eyes, the kind that could choose mercy or annihilation with equal calm. You detain my daughter, she said. I followed procedure, Corin stammered. Incorrect, she replied evenly. You failed verification. She carries a diplomatic beacon. Maya tugged her sleeve. He was just doing his job. A pause. Then, Lieutenant, the Admiral said, learn this well. Humans forgive mistakes, but we do not forgive harm to our children. She turned away. Maya waved cheerfully. Bye. Hours later, new protocols rippled across the galaxy. Human miners, untouchable. Highest diplomatic protection. In his quarters, Corin rewrote his report. Order had not failed. His understanding of it had.